What's good with y'all boys, man? I know y'all think I'm finna start getting inconsistent. I know it's been a little minute, but I'm not finna start getting inconsistent. I'm not finna start doing y'all dirty, man. I don't know, man. I just wasn't uploading. That's on me, though. I don't got no excuse. I just wasn't, you know what I'm saying? But you already know who it is, man. J52, Jalan Jokic, Ariez 2 belts, jayariez, the draw, all that, jayariez, man. And we got a brand new video for y'all, man. Shout out my boy Yukio in the Discord, man. He sent me this video. I didn't even know he dropped this, man. Wrestling Gif said, how the WWE failed Roman Reigns. We ain't even finna do all that talking, man. But before we get into that, let me just say this. Let me share my opinion on Big Dog Roman Reigns, man. Now, Big Dog Roman Reigns, he was an elite worker in that ring. I ain't gonna front. His character work wasn't the best. But let me say this about Roman Reigns. I'm not gonna try to act like Roman wasn't hated. I'm not gonna try to act like Roman had the best character. He sure as hell didn't. However, people like to act like Roman was completely hated during that run. He really wasn't. I was in them 2014, 2015, 2016 crowds. Roman was getting booed, but Roman was damn sure getting cheered. Now, his character wasn't the best, but around 2017, 2018, it was mostly positive reactions. It was a big-ass pop when he beat Brock at SummerSlam 2018. Roman was a hooper in that ring. He's had a plethora of great matches. Even his Mania 32 match against Triple H, that show was pretty good. Now, I don't want to be a hypocrite and say take the crowd away, because I am a big believer that a crowd can influence a match. However, the crowd definitely hijacked that match. That match was not bad. Please go back and watch it. If I'm bugging, if I'm tripping, let me know. But Big Dog Roman is very overhated in my opinion. So this is what we finna do. We finna watch this video. We gonna see what my boy talking about, man. Let's get into it.
It's 2023 and Roman Reigns has officially reached 1,000 days as Universal Champion. As he sits at the top of the mountain, he's no longer the big dog, but now he's the head of the table. He is now the tribal chief. Roman Reigns for the past few years has finally become the main attraction in pro wrestling, the top draw in the business, the needle mover, the main event. He has finally become the face of the WWE. Since the day he walked into the business,
he's been the face of the WWE for a minute. I ain't gonna front. He was a face of WWE and would you say 20? Nah, I'm not saying it was elite. I'm just keeping a buck. Would you say he was a face of WWE in 2015? That might be I don't know. And by the way, this current gimmick, Roman Reigns should have had this gimmick. This was pretty fire. I wasn't watching NXT, but based on the clips I saw, this was pretty fire. I don't know why he didn't continue doing this. I don't know. Vince just had his idea of Roman and he stuck with it. He did not care.
this was supposed to be the end goal. This was what the higher-ups wanted from day one. This is what the potential looked like, and the top was where Roman was destined to be. However, it was not that easy. What was supposed to be an easy path to the top, the man was supposed to be a surefire lock, found himself in limbo for 6 years. For 6 years, the man found himself being booed out of arenas, being the most hated man in wrestling, being considered the most over...
Should have been turned heel. Roman should have turned heel after he beat Taker, to be honest. I'm not saying the tribal chief, but Roman should have turned heel after he beat Taker. They was forcing him to be face for what? I still will never understand. They really should have just turned him heel. I promise it wasn't that hard. What, they didn't want to lose their top babyface or someone? Just make another dude top baby. AJ Styles was one of the top babyfaces in 2017, 2018. You know what I'm saying? So I don't got an excuse for them, but he should have been heel.
Push wrestler in decades, winning awards such as most overrated by the Wrestling Observer, the most hated wrestler of the year by Pro Wrestling Illustrated, and somehow turning that...
I don't understand how Roman could put on the wrestling clinics that he was putting on in 2016, 2015. and be named the most overrated. I don't understand. Did you see his matches with Seth? Did you see his matches with Dean? Did you see his matches with AJ? I don't know, bro. Maybe I'm tripping. You see his matches with Daniel Bryan? I don't know. Maybe I'm tripping, but I don't see how he was overrated.
Had around to being awarded Best Box Office Draw in 2022. Roman Reigns clearly had all the tools, all the potential, but for 6 years he was public enemy #1 for good reason. And the crazy part was, it wasn't even his fault. So let's go back and take a look at that 6-year span and take a look back at how bad it really was for Roman Reigns.
Echo Lima Delta Shield.
And the story began right after the Shield broke up. It was obvious that the company had 3 main eventers on their hands, 3 single stars who will carry the company into the future, but there was never any doubt that Roman was clearly going to be #1, that Roman was going to be the John Cena for the next generation.
Now this is gonna sound crazy, but I would definitely argue that Seth was pushed more than Roman. Now, a comeback to that would be, it was because of, you know what I'm saying, they gave Roman a setback when they realized the crowd wasn't really fucking with him like that. However, like, one would say that Seth was more pushed than Roman. Because peep this, Seth became a Triple Crown winner with his first 2 years of the company. He won the tag titles in 2013, correct me if I'm wrong. He won the tag titles in 2013. Then he won the WWE title 2015. And then he won Money in the Bank. Then he won the WWE title 2015. Then he won the US title at the same time. So that made him a Triple Crown winner. Multi-time IC champ. You know what I'm saying? I would definitely argue that Seth was more pushed. But obviously in the grand scheme of things, we all know, like, they wanted Roman to be that guy. Seth was debatably a placeholder. It depends on how you look at it.
The problem was, though, they wanted him to be exactly like John Cena. Like, yeah, overnight after the Shield was over, Roman Reigns became a totally different person. Apparently, he had a split personality or something, because out of nowhere, he went from being normal to doing the most extra and annoying facial expressions every time he was in the ring. He went from never talking to having the most cringe dialogue you could imagine every single week. Roman Reigns went from being the silent killer to a PG era kissing babies and hugging fat girls John Cena wannabe real quick.
Now, I ain't gonna front. I went back and I went back and watched a couple of those Big Dog promos. Get this nigga out the kitchen, cause yeah, he was not. I don't know, bro. I never like I watched the Suffering Succotash promo when it first happened. But I didn't really like remember it. I went back and watched it. I definitely see why that nigga was getting booed. And Roman was elite in that ring, but like I definitely see why he was getting booed. I went back and watched Seth versus Roman Money in the Bank. That might be my favorite Seth match. I went back and watched Seth Roman Money in the Bank 2016. Roman had them. I always hated Roman's dumbass contacts. And honestly, Roman was freaking I don't know, bro. Like, his faces, he was so cringe. Like, Roman was definitely annoying to watch. I definitely see why he was hated. Like, Roman was annoying.
And as a result, by the end of the year, the resentment towards Roman Reigns was in full effect. Just like that, the company was pushing Roman Reigns to the moon, all while completely changing what the fans loved about Roman in the first place. He was going to the top before he or the fans were even ready for it, and they were making the same mistake they made 20 years prior. Basically, the company dieseled Roman Reigns. Diesel in 1994 was awesome. The fans loved him as the quiet badass bodyguard to Shawn Michaels. Then out of nowhere, Vince makes him the champion, and overnight, Diesel went from being the quiet badass that everyone loved to wearing suits, going on talk shows, cutting promos every single week, having a personality, trying to be funny, and just being the clean-cut face of the company.
Now, I wasn't born yet, so I obviously wasn't watching in 1994, but what I do know about Kevin Nash now is I think Kevin Nash has a great mind for wrestling, and I think Kevin Nash is pretty entertaining. But obviously, I wasn't watching back then, so I don't know the crowd reaction. I'm just saying, based off of what I know, TNA, he was straight. Kevin Nash, to me, Kevin Nash is entertaining. There's a reason he's one of the best big men ever. So yeah, I guess it just depends on how you look at it. Y'all can tell me in the comments how Kevin Nash was. I don't know.
The nice guy, but the issue was nobody wanted that, and just when it looked like Diesel was the next big star of the company, he just ended up being average, and business just kept going down and down when Diesel was on top, and he never recovered until he went to WCW, became a heel, and became Kevin Nash. And here in 2014, it seemed like history was repeating.
Yo, what? Yo, look at this shit, yo.
Became Kevin Nash, and here in 2014, it seemed
this nigga flying. You telling me he wasn't a dog, yo? This nigga flying. Hold up.
like his
He's look at this nigga flying, bruh. You telling me he wasn't a dog in that ring? And I don't even think Big Show asked, but he was having bangers with the Big Show. Come on, man. Roman was like that. Y'all better stop playing with my boy.
history was repeating itself and everyone was noticing it. Roman Reigns was getting the corporate makeover. So they wanted him to smile more, they wanted him to make some more jokes and make the crowd laugh, and Roman Reigns, just 6 months after leaving the Shield, was about to win the Royal Rumble. Mind you, he had been injured and out of action from September to December, so after just 2 months of being on his own, getting injured and missing months of TV, he was brought back, and just like that, he was going to win the Royal Rumble. What for others?
But they did that with Cody and niggas ain't have never mind, bro.
Stars like Cena, Austin, Rock took years to build, from mid-card titles to legendary feuds before they ever even sniffed the main event. For those stars, they built them up so much that the fans were begging for them to be the top star. But with Roman Reigns, it was so fast and the evolution was so rushed, the change was so drastic that it became the company.
Keep in mind, I'm not necessarily disagreeing with him, but Randy won his first world title after 2 years. Cena won his first world title after 3 years. Batista won his first world title after 3 years. Brock won his first world title that year. I'm not disagreeing. I'm just saying, like, if you're going based on time lanes,
So much that the fans were begging for them to be the top star.
hold up.
Build, from mid-card titles to legendary feuds before they ever even sniffed the main event. For those stars, they built.
Okay, so he said mid-card title. I mean, Roman was attacked. I don't know. All right.
Built them up so much that the fans were begging for them to be the top star. But with Roman Reigns, it was so fast and the evolution was so rushed, the change was so drastic that it became the company was begging the fans to treat him like a top star. And of course, that did not work out. The boos just got louder and louder every single week, and this man was still wearing the same Shield outfit, coming out to the same Shield theme. They were trying to bank on any goodwill the Shield aesthetic had. Roman Reigns, to no fault of his own, was being booked as a total disaster, and the rest was just history. When he won the Royal Rumble and the crowd rejected him so bad that even The Rock was confused, it was a surprise to no one, except apparently the company.
I ain't gonna front. You had to have been there. Like, Royal Rumble 2015 was a disaster. Like, you had to be you had to be there. You had to be watching. You had to be on social media at that time, bro. Niggas was literally canceling their network subscriptions, bro. Like, niggas was not. People were so mad, bro. People was not fucking with Roman. The Rock coming out and being confused, bro. Y'all had to have seen Twitter. Y'all just had to be there. I hate being that guy because it just sounds like, but it's literally like you really had to be there. A lot of shit you had to be there for. Like, him just saying that, him just explaining it, it doesn't do it justice. Like, hey man.
There was no need to rush him into that position. There was no need to set him up like that. But these idiots just kept digging the grave deeper and deeper. So he wins the Royal Rumble, he gets rejected. What do? They make him look like a total sucker going into the main event of WrestleMania. No one will ever forget the legendary tug of rope to build up the WrestleMania main event. And just like
this shit was ass. Yeah, this was a go home Raw before Mania 31. This was hard to watch, to say the least.
Like that, the Roman Reigns character became a buffoon. The way he was presented, it was clear that this was a man to not be taken seriously. He was really a meme, which looking back was so tragic. Clearly this man had all the tools, clearly he had what it took to be the man, but the company absolutely destroyed him and they definitely set him up for failure. So when he didn't walk out of WrestleMania champion, you bet your ass the fans were happy, and then no matter what the company did, there was
them dumbass contacts, bro. Oh my god.
Nothing that was gonna save him. As awesome as the match was at WrestleMania, realistically he should have been the one beating Rusev and ending the US title reign. He should have been tearing it up in the mid-card so.
Nah, low-key, he's spitting. I ain't gonna front. Damn, that's a good ass idea. Nah, he hooping. I ain't gonna front. Nah, he's spitting.
So much so that the fans would get behind him and would eventually want him as a world champion, but instead they.
Look at work rate Roman, man. What a... Oh my god, bro. Roman versus Big Show. Roman versus Daniel Bryan. Roman versus Seth. Roman versus Dean. Roman versus Sheamus. Oh my god. Roman was not missing with his matches. It's actually crazy, yo. I think I would argue Roman was one of the most consistent stars in the company. I wouldn't even argue that. It's a fact. Roman was one of the most consistent stars in the company. He was up there with Seth and DB. He was up there and Cena at that time. In terms of getting in that ring, putting on a show, up there.
They were just making it worse. As 2015 was coming to an end, they would have him win the title and get screwed so they could get some sympathy for him. Plot twist, there was no sympathy to be found.
Sheamus definitely got a pop for cashing out Roman, but Roman got a pop for winning the title, so... Hey.
They were down so bad they even brought back a 70-year-old Vince McMahon to beef him to try to recreate some Stone Cold magic like it's 1998 or something, just so maybe the crowd will get behind him.
Here's what I'll say, right? It's hard to run. It's hard nowadays because like people are more familiar with the backstages of wrestling. I honestly wish I knew nothing about backstage. I wish I didn't know what a heel. Like I wish that I could just watch this. Like I treat it like a sport, but I wish that I could just watch this wrestling with no knowings of what's going on, no knowings of who's booking what, yada yada yada. I wish I could. Obviously, I can't now. I'm too deep in, but not knowing insider terms was better. Now back to my point. It's hard to run the storyline treating Roman like Stone Cold, treating it like it's Roman versus the Authority, when everybody is so familiar that it's Vince that's pushing him. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's hard nowadays. And especially with the fans not even really fucking with Roman like that because they feel like he's overpushed. That's definitely way harder. Like, an Authority storyline, nowadays it's hard because it's just like we already know. Like, Vince, we know it's you, little bro. You know what I'm saying? That's why it's harder nowadays. But, I don't know.
And you know what the crazy part was? Sometimes they actually would. Sometimes the crowd would cheer for him because Roman clearly had the potential to be a star, but they ruined it every single time. They would.
Nah, I ain't gonna front. Roman, the crowd would, late 2015, the crowd was fucking with Roman a little bit. And then 2016, they turned again. But late 2015, the crowd was fucking with Roman. I ain't gonna front. He got a pop when he punched Vince. When he Superman punched Vince, he got a pop when he won the title. Roman was cooking a little bit.
Would book him as a buffoon, yet at the same time they would push him to the top, so it just made no sense. Like, what were you guys doing? He was out here getting low blowed by a 70-year-old man, still doing that stupid ass smile, still trying to live off the Shield hype, so there was no sympathy. Why would there be sympathy for a guy who didn't have to overcome anything? It was like the weirdest thing. All this stuff that he should have been facing and overcoming, he did it after he had already main evented a WrestleMania. How does that make any sense? So of course, when he beat Triple H in the main event of WrestleMania in front of 100,000 people, nobody cared. Because once that stain was on,
like I said, that match was fire though.
on him. Sadly, there was nothing he could do. Once the fans saw him as a corny, overpushed buffoon, there was no coming back, and the company, instead of changing things up, they just kept digging the grave. So it didn't matter that he had great matches with AJ Styles, because the time for him to have great matches and get the fans behind him, that time was already over. And it didn't help that Seth Rollins the whole time was the Bret Hart to Roman's Diesel. In 2016, Seth Rollins became the guy for so many fans. All the fans that hated Roman's push, they just got behind Seth. As time went on, they did everything they could with Roman. They even delegated him to the mid-card so he could be US champion and grind it out before going to the main event, and they were just praying and hoping that maybe, just maybe, the fans will like him because he's not in the main event anymore.
I ain't gonna front. They was fucking with Roman's mid-card run. They was he was hooping too. They was definitely fucking with Roman's mid-card run. His US title, IC title. They was fucking with it. I ain't gonna front. He was hooping, and then when he got back in the main event a little bit, well, he was always in the main event, but when he got back in the main event a little bit, and what's it called? Face KO for the Universal title. They was cooking at Rumble 17.
Nope. No matter what feuds, no matter what matches he had,
y'all had to beat it. Yo, that video was so big with it. That used to be my favorite meme. Every time I would say nope, I would just send that meme. Like, I used to troll with that.
No matter how good they were, Roman Reigns could have went back in time and stopped 9/11, but at the end of the day, it was still Roman Reigns. It was still the guy who everyone just perceived as a bozo. And things just got worse when he got sent back to the main event. For some reason, they thought the way to get Roman Reigns over again, to get the fans behind him once again on the main event scene, was to have the man that everybody hates beat up a 52-year-old man who happens to be probably the most beloved legend on the roster.
Yeah, I don't know why. Roman should not have faced Taker. Bray should have faced Taker, to be honest. I'm fucking bugging. He already faced Taker. Okay. Scratch that. I don't know who should have faced Taker that year. But maybe Cena could have. I think Cena could have carried Taker. But nah, Roman shouldn't have faced Taker, bro. That was no.
For some reason, the company thought making Roman Reigns commit elder abuse was going to get him loved by the fans. So no, of course not. Instead, after beating up the old man, Roman Reigns came out to Raw and was booed for 10 minutes straight. In one of the most iconic...
That was one of the craziest moments I have ever watched on a Raw, bro. Let me tell y'all, Roman came out and was booed for like 11, 12 minutes. He was booed on TV. He was booed through the commercial break. Booed at the end of the segment. Fuck you, Roman chants. Roman sucks chants. Was it Die Roman Die? Hell no. I don't think it was Die Roman Die, but hella crazy chants. Undertaker chant, like, and then the end of the segment, all Roman says is, "This is my yard now," and gets booed out. One of the craziest heel ovations ever. And Roman still wasn't heel. That's how much Vince wanted Roman as a face of his company. He hears that reaction, and Roman still doesn't turn heel. Crazy.
Iconic promos of the 2010s, Roman Reigns just stood there, and the fans from around the world who had 3 years of built-up resentment to this man just let it all out. And if there was ever a time to make Roman Reigns heel, this was it.
This is my yard now.
But instead, they just kept digging the grave. So after beating up an old man didn't work, what did they do? They got desperate. They brought back John Cena for a B pay-per-view.
Okay, so he skipped through like most of 2017. Roman in 2017, what was he doing? I couldn't even tell you what he was doing. I know they put him back in the main event a little bit. Okay. He feuded with Samoa Joe, feuded with Braun Strowman. I don't know why he completely glossed over that. He had a fire-ass feud with Braun Strowman, multiple bangers. He had a fire feud with Samoa Joe. I'm pretty sure Samoa Joe beat him clean, correct me if I'm wrong. And yeah, so the match he's talking about is No Mercy 2017. Hold on. Where Cena attitude adjusted him, I think, 4 times, and Roman still won. I don't know. Yeah, I think Roman won after like 1 or 2 spears. Match was fire though. I might go back and watch it. Okay, so it took place September 24th, 2017. So he skipped over 5 months. I literally don't know why.
For No Mercy of all shows to put over Roman Reigns, to pass the torch quietly at No Mercy for some reason, and just
Yeah, it shouldn't have happened at No Mercy. That was, I don't know. I definitely think Cena should have won, to be honest. But I understand they were patching the torch, but I still think Cena should have won.
maybe, just maybe, the fans will somehow love Roman Reigns. The issue was, though, a week before the match, John Cena absolutely murdered Roman Reigns on the...
Yeah, Cena cooked this nigga. Oh my God. Cena did hit. Oh my God. Cena did Roman bad. Like, it was crazy. You gotta watch that promo. Cena did. Oh my God. Cena cooked the contact merchant. It was crazy, bro. Cena had Roman forgetting what he was gonna say, bro.
on the microphone. Cena left him wasted, calling out everything the fans hate about Roman and his 3-year push, how he will never fit Cena's shoes, how he's just a corporate-made John Cena wannabe, how he can't cut a promo to save his life, and they just had Roman stand there and just take it. Looking like the biggest bozo I had ever seen in my life, and yeah, eventually he would stand up and talk and say, you know, Cena, you're a bitch, but the damage was done. So Roman beats Cena.
Roman had to cuss just to get a reaction against Cena. He called him a bitch. Then he called him a part-time and fake ass bitch because he saw the bitch work the first time. Like it was rough. It was rough.
Cena passes the torch. Nah, it doesn't mean anything. Roman Reigns even reunites with the Shield with the sole purpose of, hey, this might get him cheered. No, and just like I said before,
don't do that. Yes, he was getting cheered. Don't do that.
Roman Reigns was stuck in limbo. He would win titles, he would lose titles, have horrible WrestleMania main events,
yeah, that shit was ass.
Go back to the mid card, go back to the main event, but Roman was never able to become what he was destined for, no matter how hard the push was. Even though all the tools were right there, even though he had it in
Roman got a pop for that, bro. Come on.
Him, the company fit.
The crowd was definitely fucking with Roman towards 2018. I ain't gonna front, they definitely was.
Killed him. Hell, the most sympathy and love from the fans he got was when he announced that he had leukemia again and when he came back from it, because he finally came off as a real person.
He was getting cheered a little bit before he announced he had leukemia. Let's not like that's low key. That's not fucked up, but come on, bro. He was getting cheered before he announced he had leukemia, dog.
As a relatable human, as Joe, as someone real, someone the fans could connect to, not a robot designed in Stamford, Connecticut in WWE headquarters to become the next John Cena. Roman Reigns' initial run ended with more of the same, a stupid feud with Shane McMahon of all people, a feud with Baron Corbin over dog food.
Okay, yeah, this was some bullshit, but Roman was over though. Especially 2019 Roman, he was definitely hooping in that ring and Roman was over.
And was even supposed to wrestle Goldberg for the title at WrestleMania. It was literally a career.
Hey, the fans was fucking with it though. They was fucking with it.
Your limbo. And it was getting sad, okay? It was a man who had all the talent in the world, who should have been the guy who wasn't some corny buffoon that he was being forced to portray. And as time went on, we found out that he didn't want to say those stupid ass lines and jokes in the promo. He didn't want to make those stupid facial expressions in every promo. Nah, instead it was the WWE, the booking, the creative, the vision that the higher ups had put Roman in this position, and they handled it horribly since day one. And because of everything they did in the first year or two, the man himself and the fans had to suffer until 2020. But luckily for everyone involved, when Roman came back from his hiatus during the peak of the pandemic, he came back with a vengeance. He came back, and he came back on his terms. He wanted to do things his way, to become a heel, to work with Paul Heyman. No more creative telling him how to act, what facial expressions to do, this and that. It was about him, it was Paul Heyman, and all the corniness, all the years of him being presented as a clown, those days were over. And he went from being the top dog to the tribal chief, and the rest was history. So, how bad was the Roman Reigns run from 2014 until 2020? It was bad. What was supposed to be the prime of his career was 6 years that Roman, that the company and the fans like to pretend never happened. The fans got 6 years of being force-fed a corny version of Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns got rejected and booed out of arenas for 6 years. And there was no reason for any of that to happen, but the company just kept digging the grave. Roman Reigns has been so elite for the past few years that we almost kind of forgot how bad the first 6 years was. And even though it wasn't his fault, it's definitely something important to remember. The WWE missed out on so much magic for those 6 years, and they almost butchered the career of an all-time great. But luckily for them and everyone involved, it all worked out. And those 6 years are why the past 3 years have been so good for Roman Reigns. It's why the new attitude and the gimmick have hit so hard, because of how bad those years were. But that doesn't change the fact, and it shouldn't be forgotten, just how dirty the WWE did Roman Reigns from 2014 until 2020. It is honestly a miracle that it all worked out how it did.
These will be my closing comments on Roman, right? It's actually crazy how the big dog and the tribal chief feel like two different characters. That's really, I honestly think that's amazing. Like, that's honestly so crazy. They don't even feel like the same person. Like, Roman's face just looks different. Like, everything about Roman Reigns is different. As for his big dog run, I really don't think it was that bad. The fans definitely did not fuck with it as much. We could do the, you know what I'm saying, do the Roman doing all that bullshit he was doing. But it wasn't like, I don't think Roman's big dog run was the worst thing in wrestling. Roman that was definitely a dark road for Roman. It definitely fucked with him. Low-key did waste his career a little bit, but hey, if we never got that, who knows if we might have ever gotten a tribal chief. Real talk. But it's not the word. It's like, I don't know, bro. Roman Reigns is a polarizing figure, and he's gonna go down as one of the GOATs. But that run definitely fucked him up. Be sure to like and subscribe, man. Let me know if y'all fuck with these type of videos. Let me know if there are any other videos y'all want me to react to, man. I'm off this. Follow me on TikTok at jayariez. Follow me on Instagram at jayariez, man. Hope y'all have a blessed day.